The Ferrules Direct FD110K pneumatic crimping machine, 30 plus interchangeable die sets, and nearly 2 tons of crimping force. Simply connect to your provided air source and start crimping today. Let's get right into this demonstration. So the first thing you're going to notice is that there are 2 ports on the back of the machine. You have port A and you have port B. We have color-coded pneumatic tubing that we're plugging in. So we have the blue going into A and the green going into B. If you pick up your foot pedal, you will also notice that those are alphabetically listed as well. So you have port A there and port B. So go ahead and plug in the other ends in the same order. And that third port that you see at the bottom, that is for your air source. So here in the office, we have black pneumatic tubing that goes to our air source. So we'll go ahead and grab that and plug it into the bottom, as you see here. And the opposite end of this tubing will be going right into our air compressor, as you see right here. All right, once you get all set up, you are ready to crimp. So as we get into this demonstration, you'll see we have the die set preloaded. We're going to pick up these 16 gauge red Ferrules and go ahead and get started with the demonstration. Now this is stranded copper wire that we're using. We'll give it a little twist and we'll insert the red 16 gauge wire ferrule. And then align it in the proper slot. Each slot is identified on the die itself. You depress the foot pedal one time, just one rotation, and that is all you need to ensure a proper crimp. As we zoom in here, you will see the nice trapezoidal impression that it gives on the wire ferrule. Nice channeling right down the center. It does really, it does a great job, and this is probably around 60 to 70 psi is all you need for 16 gauge. All right, so after that, we have some twin wire ferrules because this die set also does twin wire. So we have the 2 14 gauge wires funneled into a twin wire ferrule. We'll go ahead and position that into the die set just as before. All right, once we get that loaded up, depress that foot pedal once, do one rotation up and down, and just like before, you have a perfect trapezoidal impression with a nice channeling down the center there. All right, this also does non-insulated. So we have an 8 gauge non-insulated wire ferrule, again with stranded copper wire. So same as before, this will load up into the rearmost slot, depress down once, and there you have it. Nice solid crimp. So this is just with the wire ferrule die. We will go ahead and remove this die with the provided hex key. As we pick that up here, you'll see it's in the box with the tool. 2 of the screws to remove the safety guard, and then there's another 2 screws once you remove that to remove the upper and lower part of the die sets. And depending on the type of ferrule or terminal that you're crimping, you can adjust your air source accordingly. Between 60 to 110 psi, you can sort of find that sweet spot. All right, so now that we've loaded that up with a new die set, we have our uninsulated terminals in place. We're going to go ahead and do some uninsulated ring lugs, as you see here. So go ahead and align that in the proper slot. As you see here, this is a single indent die set. So we'll put this in the rearmost slot, depress the pedal once, and that will create that single indent right on the top side of that lug, as you see here. And as we turn it, you'll notice that it does give a nice crimp all the way around. So it's a very uniform crimp with the indent in the direct center. Now we want to go back to wire ferrules for a second and show that you can also do the bigger gauge, and this is a slightly longer ferrule, as you see here. So you want to crimp it twice. If anything, if it exceeds 12 millimeters in length, you want to do 2 crimps to cover the entire length of the barrel. So we're doing 1, we're going to adjust it a little bit and then crimp it down again. That way we stamp it twice or crimp it twice, as you see here. Gives you that nice trapezoidal impression with the indentation right down the center. Nice solid hold. All right, so we've moved on to some insulated terminals. Put in our insulated terminal die. This die set is marked according to wire gauge, so it's color coded, as you see here. There's different color codings for each indentation or groove in the die set. So you just take your 22 to 16 gauge, line it up with a color coded channel there and crimp it down. And what it will do is it'll crimp it as well as stamp the wire size right onto the insulation of the terminal itself. So as we get in tight there, you'll see that. Very nice tight hold, easy identification. All right, so we'll jump right from 22 gauge all the way to the 12 to 10 gauge, and so that's going to go in the furthermost slot there. So we'll line that up just as before, crimp it down once, and bring it out, and you'll see there nice tight crimp, and again with the indentation to show the size of the wire you're working with. All right, so now we've done some fork terminals, we're going to bring in some flat blade. This is a nylon insulation, and this particular one is 16 to 14 gauge. So just line it up with the blue marking on the die. Get that in place, crimp it down just as we've done on the 4 or 5 times before, and out you have it. Perfect crimp with a little marking stamped right in. Excellent. So this machine, I say we've barely scratched the surface. It does several different types of crimps, 30 plus die sets available for purchase. Please visit our website for the complete listing. And if you enjoyed watching the video, be sure to hit subscribe and stay tuned for more great ones to come. Thanks for watching.